Hi everyone. Thanks for Franco and the team to invite me here today to give a talk. Sorry I can't be there in person, but Franco just asked me to give an overview about Wellcome, who we are, and also why we decided to support the Bridge project, and what our interests are in it. And so firstly, I'm from the Data for Science and Health team at Wellcome. I'm Matthew Brown, Head of Digital Technology for Discovery Research and Mental Health. Now, in terms of Wellcome and who we are, we're a private philanthropic organization. We're a charitable trust, and we have around about 38 billion pounds that our investment team invest wisely for us, and then we spend the interest that they make on science research. And so the areas that we've decided to invest that money in are in infectious disease, so reducing the risk and impact of escalating infectious diseases, climate and health, putting health at the heart of climate change action, and then mental health, driving a step change in early intervention for anxiety, depression, and psychosis. And then our fourth area, discovery research, is really underpinning research to understand how life and health work. And so we, as the Data for Science and Health team, cut across all these four areas. And so what we're particularly interested in is advancing trustworthy data science to help solve these urgent health challenges. And so I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted here, but we really believe that the trustworthiness of data sets and digital tech is determined by how they're conceived, built, used, and evolved. So you need a trustworthiness lens throughout the pipeline from the first ideas to digital tools all the way into maintenance and evolution of those tools and everything in between. And so we see characteristics of trustworthy data science and how we kind of frame that problem and the challenge. And broadly putting those into three different buckets. And so the first one is a technical challenge. So the tools that you're generating have to be effective in solving the problems that they're created to address. And too often we see actually there's a divergence between the tools that are generated and the precision of the end goal that they're looking to achieve. And so it really needs to be built with the intended context or environment in mind from the outset. Software should be easy to maintain and open by default, and it should be able to evolve according to changing needs and demands. And so we have certain projects, such as one ongoing at the moment called the Responsible Handover Project, which really look to articulate how to evolve, maintain, and hand over digital tools in a trustworthy way and a responsible way. The second bucket here is institutional. And so policy relating to digital tools needs to facilitate responsible and sustainable innovation. And so really recognizing there's a tension there between sort of overly restrictive regulation that disincentivizes new tool development and stymies creativity versus having such a low bar that actually you're getting tools which are not trustworthy, not well maintained, or not well developed in the pipeline, and potentially reducing the trust of all of those other more effectively generated tools. Data standards should support efficient exchange and analysis, including across borders, particularly pertinent to the discussions at the conference that we're at here now. And finally, the governance must balance the need for adequate control over the data with access for science and research. And so alongside this project, we also have a project with the Medicines and Healthcare Regulatory Authority, the MHRA in the UK, to help focus on improving guidance for this for software as a medical device in the UK. And so why are we interested in this project? So the long-term vision here from our perspective is really that neuroscience and mental health data can be shared across both groups and across geographies. And so we've got several different angles of attack on this approach. And so we've already funded a study called the Mindkind study. This was a pilot study focusing on international data governance for mental health data, had extensive youth person engagement across South Africa, India, and the UK. And now we really looking to understand how we can ensure neuroscience data can be shared and build on lessons learned in other fields, like, for example, the genetics genomics field. Another couple of links here that I've shared, and happy for Franco to share these slides on if people find them interesting or useful. One is a piece of landscaping that we conducted called Landscaping Longitudinal Research, which attempts to unearth and share with the rest of the community longitudinal data sets that could be useful for mental health research. The team that generated that initial landscaping and that initial list are now also generating a more sustainable resource for the community to access. And GA4GH, which is the Global Alliance for Genomics and Health, which Wellcome also fund, looking at developing global standards for genomics accessing and sharing, and really looking at how we can take examples like this and build that into the neuroscience world. And so that's where this project comes into our mind, really. We see the key components of this project, looking at practical approaches to overcoming those legal, technical, ethical challenges that are associated with sharing of neuroscience and mental health data across borders, really tackling that in a very sort of practical manner. Really looking to encourage cross-border data sharing between higher and lower resource settings. So it will be of no surprise to people in this room that the vast majority of neuroscience research and data is generated in higher income countries, whereas actually a lot of the problems can be most prevalent in the lower resource settings. So how can we bridge that divide? How can we ensure that data from lower resource settings, but also researchers in those settings, can work together with colleagues in higher resource settings? And finally, looking to really engage the wider neuroscience and mental health community to help build these more coherent approaches from what we see now, which is, especially in neuroscience, quite a heterogeneous, fragmented ecosystem where standardization is relatively low compared to some other areas. And so really what I'd encourage all of you at the conference to do is engage as much as possible with the Bridge project, but also with other ongoing initiatives like the Global Brain Consortium, which are seeking to develop these new standards and measures for how neuroscience data can be used and shared maximally across borders and across different research projects. And so I think I'll stop there and I'll hand back to Franco and the team. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, do feel free to contact me on my email address, which you can see there. Thank you very much.